Welcome back to Today's Health. Today we're talking about the $1.6 million construction project underway at McLaren Port Huron. Joining me now is Director of Facilities, Jack Belyea. Jack, thank you for joining us today.
Michelle, thank you.
Now, it's hard to miss the steel that's going up at the south end of our campus right now. Can you describe for our viewers what the current phase is in the construction project?
And I'm going to use the illustration. The steel that everyone sees from Pine Grove going southbound or northbound, when we look at the steel, the normal steel or the darker steel is all of this area within here. What they also see is white steel out there, and that's painted steel or the stairwell. Then they also see a lot of silver steel, and that is the exposed steel or the galvanized steel. So that always gets the attention of anybody driving by when you see this much steel. And when we're talking about over 165,000 square feet, that's a lot of steel. And of course, the weather has helped us so much in the construction. Because of the mild winter we had, we were able to go through the winter and maybe miss a total of 3 days over the construction season. So that is the biggest thing that they're going to see when they come by.
So we have steel, we have a stairwell. Is there floors or cement in the bottom?
There is. Great question. We were able to pour the basement level. We of course poured first, and then you start your steel going up. We are actually on the second floor with the pour of concrete. And in the second floor is where we're going to connect to the hospital, or connect to, a lot of people remember, and it will still be there, is the Wismer Health Center. That ties both sections of the ORs together on the second floor. One of the big things, Michelle, that we did in the planning of this is sit down with caregivers, sit down with different groups to say, what is the best practice for stacking of floors? And when we looked at it, in the basement we have the laboratory in Central Sterile. Central Sterile does all the instruments for the ORs. So you want them stacked up above, and we were able to put 2 elevators that are dedicated just for OR case carts within here. So that does make it state of the art. And these case carts will go directly up to the OR and then come back down for cleaning processes in CSS. So when we talked about that connector for patients to come from the North Tower to the South Tower, we also had to look at how do we get all of our services? How is all the trash taken out of this building? And take it to back of house. So we were able to, and that's actually one of the things we're working on right now, is we're digging out a tunnel that will attach us to the basement of the North Tower, or the existing hospital. So to do that, and also we needed to see how were supplies coming over here, because we don't want that crossing in any of the patient traffic. So that's actually how the tunnel got designed. And you need a 8-foot corridor to get all these services back and forth. So that is actually what we're working on right now. Isn't real exciting stuff, but it is one of the things that have taken a great deal of time since we've opened the Carmanis Cancer Institute in 16.
Now that's awesome that you've sat down and talked to caregivers and hospital employees regarding their input for the construction of the new tower. Is that how the decision was made to put the different departments in the different levels, with the emergency room on the main floor and the ORs after that? Was that from advice from employees? Employees,
caregivers, and again, I can't say enough about best practice. We aren't the first ones to build a hospital, and so we went out and asked the experts that when we brought them in to a lot of user groups that we had in the design phase. And that's actually how, when we stacked, the ICU is going to be located right next to the OR. In our next 2 floors of 36 beds each, where the patient would be what we'll call a step-down unit, or a telemetry unit, would be 1 floor above your ICU.
Now, Jack, I would imagine that a construction project this large would have an impact on the local economy. Can you tell us more about that?
You know, it does. We have construction workers, and we're pretty happy to announce that over 50% of those workers are local within the Blue Water area. And so these workers that are here, and they may, they're traveling from the north as far as Marlette, when they come down, they're staying here at different times, but they're also buying gas. They're eating lunch here. So that does help the economy. One of the questions I've got that helped us is the construction crew that is working on it has rented a house that we work out of for an office.
Jack, this has all been great information. Do you have any closing comments for our viewers?
If all of our patients, customers, employees, because it also affects the employees too, Michelle, that it's a lot of things that we've had to put into place, some longer walks for them. So if we can just be patient, the end is near, and we're looking forward to it.
That's been great information. Thanks for joining us today, Jack.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be back after this break.